What up, everybody? This is your boy Dedrian 180, and this is my review for the June 21st episode of AEW Dynamite. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification so that way you're notified when the House of Wrestling drops its latest content. Follow me, Dedrian 180, on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Man, tonight's AEW Dynamite, I had fun. This was a show you can tell. I don't want to use the term piggyback, but it did feel like the momentum and the energy from AEW Collision this past Saturday, it like continued on this show. Um, there were some things on this show that I kind of saw that was kind of like crammed together and kind of like the momentum kind of like dipped a little bit. But for the most part, this was a very good show heading into Forbidden Door with New Japan and AEW. A lot has gone on. Excuse me, a lot did go on the show. And one of the things I did like about this show was that they left subtle cliffhangers for Rampage and Collision. Um, of course, with Rampage being taped right after Dynamite, certain spoilers are already out. So it is what it is. But no, for the most part, this was a very fun show. Shout out to my hometown, Chicago, Wintrust Arena. That crowd was amazing. I know several people that were in attendance, and as I was watching the show, I'm like, damn, I should have bought a ticket. It's like, damn, I was contemplating it yesterday and early this morning. I'm like, man, should I get a ticket? Do I want to go do I want to go? Should I go? Like, I was going back and forth. I'm like, you know what? I'll stay home. But for those that I know that went there, I hope you guys had a ball. It looked fun on TV. I can only imagine the energy and the excitement that was there in the arena. They made the show. They made the show. This was really cool. I do want to make one note. The um, the Elite were not um, live in the arena. They did shoot a tape segment with Eddie Kingston. Um, and I gotta go back and watch it, but it did seem like there was continuity with that video and what Eddie Kingston was wearing. So it's pretty smart continuity with that because you can tell that it was pre taped and everything. But overall, man, this was a fun show. Um, before I get into the things that stood out on this episode of Dynamite, they did a really good job of building up Rampage and leaving certain cliffhangers for that show to tune in. They did a very good job of leaving a cliffhanger for AEW Collision. And those matches, oh, man, that looks, whew, man, that's beautiful. The main event, it's like, okay, we're adding one more person to something that we already saw last week. It's like, okay, it is what it is. But overall, man, this was a fun show. I'm looking forward to Forbidden Door. That card is stacked, and man, that is going to be a fun show to watch. Man, I am looking forward to it. Looking forward to Okada and Bryan Danielson. I'm looking forward to Osprey and Omega, MJF, and um, Tanahashi. So there's a lot of good matches on this Forbidden Door card. But man, this Dynamite was just boom, 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 boom. Um, it how do I explain it? So I was live there at the AEW Collision show, and the difference I can tell is that's comparing the two episodes. The differences is Collision is from the first episode is going to be the wrestling show, and then Dynamite is going to be the story show, if that makes sense. And I know some people, AEW doesn't tell stories. Yes, they do. They tell about 7 stories in an episode on Dynamite. Um, so I see that's how it's shaping up, but it should be good. And there's a line that CM Punk used tonight that kind of, you could say, hints and alludes to a lot of reports that have been going around as far as a soft brand split, but we'll see what happens with that. But man, let's get into what stood out to me about this episode of AEW Dynamite. First off, Punk, FTR, Starks versus Bullet Club Gold and the Guns on AEW Collision. Of course, the opening match, you had the Hardys and the Guns match. Jeff Hardy's about to do this senton bomb. Juice Robinson comes out. Jay White knocks Jeff Hardy off the top turnbuckle. The Guns get the win. They start beating down them. The Hardys. Then you have was it Ricky Starks first or FTR? So you had those three come out. So they're just going back and forth. Then Punk comes out. The cool thing about this that I liked was that they didn't use any music. Like they just came out. Ricky Starks came out. FTR came out, and CM Punk came out. And that's something that AEW first started doing. And then as the years went on, hey, if there's an attack, play the music and they come out, what we've seen in WWE and a few other places where it's just like, okay, like if it's, forgive me guys, man, things, all right, there we go. Where we've seen at a few other places. So that was kind of cool for me to see that because like, oh, okay, this is something that, most wrestling fans are like, man, it's kind of goofy that, you play the music and then the guy comes out when everybody's getting beat down instead of just rushing out there. So I really thought that was cool. It was announced, not on the show, but it was reported that Jeff Hardy will be off TV for the next, I believe, couple weeks, maybe next month, because I know with AEW going to Canada for I think a month, a couple weeks to a month. Of course, Jeff Hardy's situation, he can't travel to Canada, so he's gonna be off TV for a while. Maybe I believe his brother will be as well. I don't know. We shall see more info on that and everything, but yeah, this was a really cool way to start off the show. And as the Bullet Club Gold and Guns are going to the back, CM Punk's like, you know what? I'm not supposed to be on this show. I'm a Collision guy. So maybe I mixed that up around. Forgive me, guys. So right there is just like, you're not supposed to be here. So maybe we are getting a soft brand split, which I'm all for it and everything. They have the titles to do it. They have the roster to do it. So then he proceeds, I want to see you guys on Collision this Saturday. So that should be a fun match. Is it going to be an 8-man tag? Because is somebody going to get injured? Somebody going to get hurt? What's going to happen? So I'm looking forward to that match on Saturday and watching Collision. It should be fun. It should be fun. When the Bullet Club Gold came out and helped the Guns, I'm like, okay, are the Guns officially a part of Bullet Club Gold, or are they just two guys that Jay White and Juice Robinson are just using? So we'll see where that goes. The other thing that stood out to me, and I am looking forward to this tournament, and it's not the Blind Eliminator tournament. The Blind Eliminator tournament, that's actually pretty cool, but this tournament, the Owen Hart tournament, both the men's and women's brackets were announced and revealed tonight, and this looks pretty good. The whole tournament looks pretty good as far as how it's going to shape out. Who will be in the finals and who will win? That's going to be interesting. Looking at it now, so here's the men's bracket. You're going to have Punk and Kojima. You're going to have Roderick Strong and Samoa Joe. That's going to be good. You're going to have Dustin Rhodes and Powerhouse Hobbs. You're going to have Juice Robinson versus Ricky Starks. So this is going to be interesting because the odds-on favorite is going to be CM Punk. Is he going to defeat Powerhouse Hobbs? Is he going to defeat Ricky Starks? That's going to be interesting. And are we gonna get CM Punk versus Samoa Joe before we get to the finals? Like, ooh, that's gonna be good, man. That's gonna be sweet. That is going to be some good wrestling. Then on the women's bracket, you're gonna have Britt Baker versus, I believe it's Ruby Soho. Let me check right now. It's on my notes. Let me check right now. Yes, it's Ruby Soho. So it's going to be Britt Baker, Ruby Soho, Anna Jay versus Sky Blue. You're going to have Nyla Rose versus Willow. You're going to have Athena versus Billy Starks, which is going to be an interesting addition to this tournament because I know she recently just signed with AEW. So with this, first thing that caught my eye when I saw both brackets, one, Adam Cole isn't going to be in the tournament, so he's not going to. He was last year's winner, and Britt Baker's was last year's winner, so he's not going to have the opportunity to, you know, be a repeat champion in the Owen Hart tournament. And then Britt Baker, she has the opportunity to repeat, but is she going to repeat? Because we could have Britt Baker versus Sky Blue in one bracket final, and then we could have Willow versus Athena. Now that's going to be interesting. Now, my personal opinion, I think it's either going to be Willow or Athena that win the Owen Hart tournament. That's going to be interesting. I don't see Britt Baker winning the tournament again for a second consecutive year. But we shall see. I think it's going to be Willow or Athena in the women's side. And in the men's side, I think it's going to be CM Punk. Then again, he might lose, and that might be the starting point of him turning heel. That could happen. So, I mean, it's either Punk versus Hobbs or it's going to be Punk versus Ricky Starks. We shall see. But that's an interesting bracket. That's really cool. It really shows you who will be possibly in the final. So I'm all for that. It's pretty good. Then the next thing that stood out to me. So we had Jericho, Sammy Guevara, Minoru Suzuki versus Action Andretti, Darius Martin, and AR Fox. This was a pretty good match. I think it kind of went a little bit too long, which is one of the reasons why the ending of Dynamite kind of just got condensed so much. So after the match, Jericho starts talking about how Sting, once in a lifetime, Sting comes out with Darby Allin, and they accept Jericho's challenge at Forbidden Door, and Sting's like, we know who our third partner is, but you're going to have to wait to AEW Collision. And Darby Allin uses this cool, slick line that we know that you've made enemies in a lot of places. We don't know who it is. I don't know who it is. Is it going to be a new debut? Is it going to be someone that from New Japan, which more than likely it's going to be? Don't know. But we do know it's going to be Jericho, Sammy Guevara, Minoru Suzuki versus Sting, Darby Allin, and a mystery partner. So, before I started recording this, there were no spoilers or anything because it's going to be on Saturday. So we have to wait till AEW Collision to find out who the partner is for Sting and Darby Allin. I like that they're using Collision as the, hey, you got to find out here instead of Rampage where it's like, okay, we find out the spoilers and everything. So now it gives AEW, I believe this is the first storyline where it leads to that, like, okay, who's going to be Sting's partner? So you got to tune in on Saturday to find out who's going to be the partner amongst all that great wrestling on AEW Collision. So pretty smart move. I like that. I like that they subtly did that, and it's going to be the night before Forbidden Door. So once it's revealed on Saturday who Sting and Darby Allin's partner is, of course, that's going to be the talk more than likely on social media, and leading into Forbidden Door. So kudos to AEW. That's pretty smart. Now we got the blind eliminator tournament. And I believe that's what it's called. Forgive me if it's not, guys. I believe that's what they referred to. So you have this eliminator tag team tournament. And you have Tony Schiavone and RJ City, and they have, they're rolling, the tumbler, and you could, select the partner. And what I liked is that they only selected two names. And Tony Schiavone gets the names like, whoa, these guys are partners. And Tony Schiavone, looks in the camera and says that, we got to wait next week to find out the rest of the bracket, which I'm all excited for because of this is going to be a really cool tournament. And in the 4 years that AEW has existed, I don't recall a tournament like this where they're drawing random people to be teams and to challenge for the AEW tag team titles, which I think that's pretty cool. That's a really creative way to, create or see who's going to be the number one contenders for the AEW tag team championship instead of the regular. Okay, they got a couple wins. Now they're going to challenge for the title. Like, this is a really cool, creative way to do this. So this ties into Adam Cole calling out MJF. They're going back and forth, and Adam Cole's like, you know what? Why don't I just knock you out right now? And, no, it was, why don't we fight right now and I'll just knock you out? And Tony Schiavone cuts him off. Was like, hey, guys. And both of them tell, shut up, Tony. That was really funny. And Tony Schiavone announces that Adam Cole, you were the first name that was drawn in the tag team eliminator tournament, and MJF, you're going to be his partner. So MJF and Adam Cole are going to be tag team partners in this eliminator tournament, and next Wednesday we will find out the rest of the bracket. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. It's interesting. It's intriguing because it adds a different element to their feud that I don't recall AEW doing something like this in the 4 years that they've been in existence, which I find very interesting. That's a really cool creative way to do that. And, unfortunately it goes with the joke of WWE where it's like, can they coexist? Can they coexist? So you're going to get that, but I like it. It's pretty cool. It's creative. I'm open to it because it's I believe this is the first time that they're doing this. So I'm more of like, you know what? Let me see how this plays out, see how it shapes up the tournament, who's in there and everything, and just to see how this is going to be. So I don't know. I'm all for it. MJF versus Adam Cole as a tag team. That should be really funny. And I'm just looking forward to who's going to be their opponent and will they advance in the tournament? Like, that's a good thing to think about. Like, will they advance? Or, will they win the whole tournament and then challenge FTR for the tag team titles? That's pretty, when you start placing those things and those scenarios around what could happen with the tag team titles, and it's like, oh man, it's pretty interesting. Let's see how this works out. And I mean, it's MJF and Adam Cole, man. They have been solid on the mic, and just the last, their most recent match that finished in a draw, like, that was beautiful. So this is really cool how AEW has put this together. The next thing that stood out to me was the Blackpool Combat Club, their promo, and fifth man and this and that. And later on, you get Don Callis, as Alex Marvez was interviewing Will Ospreay. Don Callis comes in and he's like, you know what? You need to protect yourself in Canada. You need to, they're violent. Like, he's just running down Canada and just dogging. It's like, dude, you're from Canada. That's pretty bogus, but it should be to no surprise that he would do that or say that. And he mentions I have some guys that can do security for you. So it has been reported and heavily rumored that we have, soon we're gonna see who's gonna be a part of Don Callis's family. And again, this is another thing that's very interesting because Don Callis in this interaction with Will Ospreay, he mentioned like, "Hey, you'll find out at Forbidden Doors." So this is going to be really interesting how this plays out. Who's a part of Don Callis's security? So you have the Sting and Darby, who's their partner on Collision, and then you have the uh, who's Don Callis security on Sunday. So you have to tune in to both the Collision and the pay per view to find out, to get an answer to these questions. Which I like that AEW. Good job. You're starting to pick up on these, leaving these cliffhangers to keep people interested on these shows. Where, man, what is the, um, who's the partner and who's the security? So I like that. The other thing that stood out to me, and this was the ending. Um, the fifth man for the Elite and Eddie Kingston was Tomohiro Ishii. You get a beatdown and everything. The BCC, they come out. Actually, it was more Moxley, Yuta, and Danielson. They're just beating down Kingston and everything. And not Kingston, Tomohiro Ishii and Bryan Danielson's like, "Hey, since Okada's not going to come, I might as well just stomp this guy." And as soon as he's about to stomp him, coin flip, Okada comes out. They start running. He almost gives Danielson the Rainmaker. Yuta comes in. Okada gives Yuta the Rainmaker. And man, that shot of Okada and Danielson face off. Oh man, it's been so many years people have wanted that dream match, and we're getting it this Sunday. Okada versus Bryan Danielson. That is going to be an epic classic of a match on Sunday. I am looking forward to that match. That match might be match of the night. But man, that was a cool ending. The only thing, like I said earlier, the thing that I noticed, it did seem like the Jericho Guevara Suzuki match against Action Andretti and Darius Martin and AR Fox. Like, it did seem like that was a little bit too long. It should have been shorter. It's actually should have been a squash match with Suzuki, because Darius Martin kept on, asking Suzuki to hit him, and Suzuki just laying him out. So, yeah, that match should have been shorter, because this ending, although it was cool, it did feel like it was rushed. I believe Eddie Kingston, he got he got on the mic at like 8, I think 8:52 Central's time. So he only had like this whole segment only had 8 minutes to really get all this done and everything. And, the women's match came on at like 8:37. Like, it was just really late. And it just felt like that one match went a little bit too long. Either that match, the Jericho Guevara and Suzuki versus Action Andretti, Darius Martin, AR Fox went a little bit too long, or it was the Orange Cassidy Shibata versus Daniel Garcia and Zack Sabre Jr. match. Which, now that I think about it, that match was fine, but it was the Jericho Guevara Suzuki match that went a little bit long. Like, if it was cut a good 3 minutes, like 3 to 5 minutes, me personally, if they got 3 to 5 minutes, that would have gotten everything, more breathing room. But it did feel a little condensed at the end. It was announced after this on the show that Rampage, you got Chaos versus United Empire and Swerve Strickland. You have Anna Jay and Sky Blue, first round matchup for the Owen Hart women's side of the tournament. MJF's first appearance on AEW Rampage. That's a shocker. Then you're going to have um, the Acclaimed in action, Adam Cole versus the Spoiler. The Spoiler. No, I was going to give a spoiler. You're going to have Jungle Boy versus Duque, and I know you guys are not going to like this, but there was a spoiler. You're going to get Tom Lawler versus Adam Cole at Forbidden Door. Just saying. Then on Collision, you're going to get CM Punk, FTR, Ricky Starks versus Bullet Club Gold, Juice Robinson, Jay White, with the Guns, Billy, Colton, and Austin Gunn. We're going to get Swerve Strickland versus Tanahashi. That's going to be dope. We're going to get Brody King versus Andrade. We're going to get Nyla Rose versus Willow. Again, in another first round matchup in the Owen Hart Women's Tournament. But man, overall, this show was really fun. Just the ending just felt a little crammed. Felt like, either it was a Jericho or the Orange Cassidy tag team match. Like, it just felt like one of those two matches went a little bit longer than it should, which resulted in the women going on a little bit longer and just the time constraints and everything. So looking forward to Forbidden Door, looking forward to Rampage, and definitely looking forward to Collision. And it does feel like after this Forbidden Door, like we're gonna even see more things creatively from AEW on Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision. So I'm looking forward to it. Man, CM Punk, I anticipated CM Punk showing up because it was reported that he's going to be there. But the way they did it, I did not anticipate that. That was for me, it was somewhat of a surprise. But overall, man, this was a fun show. It was entertaining. I liked it. The only thing is that I noticed, and I said this earlier, but the difference between Collision and Dynamite, Collision didn't feel rushed at all at any point. It was perfect pacing. The timing for each match was perfect. With this episode of Dynamite, it did feel like two matches went a little bit longer, and towards the end, everything just got crammed. I believe the women had 8 minutes, an 8-minute match, which if you take 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes off of one of the two matches, you give that to half that to the women, or you give 2 more minutes to the women, and then you give, another, 2.5 minutes for, the ending segment. Could have been done a little bit better, but it was cool that they got the Okada, Bryan Danielson face off and everything. So shout out to Chicago, man. That was a great crowd. Man, I should have went, man. I should have bought a ticket and should have went, man. Damn. Next time. Was it all out in Chicago? So might go to that one. We'll see. But that's my review for the June 21st episode of AEW Dynamite. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification so that you're notified when the House of Wrestling drops its latest content. Follow me, Dedrian180, on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Man, there's a lot of AEW wrestling, and more importantly, there's a lot of pro wrestling this weekend. So I'm having fun. Christmas came early for me. I'm looking forward to Forbidden Door. With that, folks,